Maddie would both come in very happy, very friendly. You know, they always were just such a smile on their face. Just like pretty much you would say they're the light of the world, pretty much. You know, always happy, go lucky. They always came in just chatting. They always came with a group, like I said. They probably I'd say 4 or 5 girls at most, all the time. They come in together. And I made a joke about it earlier. It was like, hey, coming together and stuff like that. It's nice to see you girls trying to stay safe. One of them more or less openly says, "Oh yeah, we've had a friend of ours be stalked before, so this is kind of why we all travel in a group like this." And just
was it Kaylee who said that? Do you remember?
No, it was Maddie who actually said that. So Maddie said it, and it was kind of like more mentioning, like motioning to Kaylee too, like who was right next to her. So you could tell that like they obviously all were trying to keep Kaylee safe, and be there for her as good friends. And then to know that a few weeks later, now I won't see them, anymore, anything like that. So it's crazy.
How long before the murder about was that?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks beforehand, because I was telling them I hope they had a good Thanksgiving break and everything like that too, because I didn't know if I'd see them again. So, with a lot of the times with the kids, with the way after the pandemic, some of the kids leave and wave. So I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to see you this weekend or not. Hey, hope you have a great, Thanksgiving with your family. And that was the last I saw them.
Did they elaborate any more on the stalker comment?
They more or less kind of making the comment that it always seemed to happen either by the campus or down on Main Street. And the last time the Kaylee more or less made it sound like it seemed like it was down on Main Street, and that the person was coming from like around the Corner Club area, and then as far as I remember, it's the guy who ended up like trying to go and talk to her, and then he gave up on it and he ended up walking away. So she thought she was being stalked up to a certain point, and then looked behind her and he was no longer behind her. So
I just want to make sure that I get it right. So
just
tell me again exactly what you remember.
Just more or less, I made a joke about them being in a group, and they just said, yeah, one of our friends motioning to Kaylee that she'd been stalked recently, and so that had people constantly following her around. And it's not just a one-off thing, that this is apparently something that Kaylee had tons of issues with. That apparently she always had somebody who's constantly walking behind her like that. So, and it was more so at nighttime when they were out there drinking and stuff like that. Because I asked them, like, is it at school? And she's like, no, when I'm at night, going out to the bars or coming back from the bars. And again, living down that way.
Did she specifically mention the Corner Club?
Not the Corner Club, but just in that general direction and stuff like that. So, the only reason I would assume the Corner Club is because that's the only bar that's down in that area anymore now. So, we used to have two. One was CJ's and then the Corner Club. It's just Corner Club now. Then a whole block before it mingles. So.
How many times did you see Kaylee and Maddie? How many times did they come to the store?
I'd say, now that I'm trying to think back in my head, I've only saw them maybe like 6-7 times total. So I'd say probably since the start of this beginning of this year.
Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. This is for educational purpose only. This is the case of the Idaho quadruples. May the 4 victims rest in peace, condolence to the families, and may the correct justice be served. I'd like to talk a bit about Kaylee. It was said in the beginning that Kaylee allegedly had a stalker. I do always believe in that theory. It makes more sense when you look at the motive. There was 3 unidentified male DNAs found at the scene. So this could be linked to a stalker case, definitely. We heard clearly what the Corner Club manager said. He said that it usually happened from the club sides, from the Corner Club side. And he said, when Brian Enton asked him to confirm it, he said that yes, it had to be the side of the Corner Club because the other clubs were closed, temporary. So it was just a Corner Club. And if you pay attention further to that interview, he says clearly that Maddie told him that somebody even followed Kaylee during the day from the Corner Club side. Isn't that strange? Why was somebody stalking Kaylee? What was the motive? Kaylee was studying from home. Was there a reason, I wonder? Maybe was she studying from home because she was being stalked and she didn't want to tell her family? She didn't want to admit to anyone what was happening. Maybe she thought this is something that she could solve and that they could solve easily. But it didn't end up to be the case, unfortunately. I find this stalker thing of Kaylee to be really important. The fact that Kaylee was away for a month or over. She came back that night, a night before that night, before the 13th. She went to a sorority party, let's not forget, on the 12th. And she was unalived on the 13th, unfortunately. What was going on in Kaylee's life and Maddie's life? And what was going on in Ethan and Xana's life? I wanted to show you all another clue about Kaylee. That's why I'm so focused about Kaylee too. This is for fair use purpose. This is from Chronicle of Olivia's. She does a wonderful job. Steve Gongalves and Kaylee's mother, Chrissy Gongalves, asked for Olivia from the beginning because Kaylee used to follow Olivia on social media in true crime. Now, Olivia will explain to you all about Kaylee's LinkedIn account, which I find to be extremely important. The stalker is important. The fact that Kaylee was studying from home for 1 month and she came back one night before the unalivings happened, that's true. That's really important. The LinkedIn account is extremely important too. I'm searching for motives and targets. Was Kaylee a target? Was Kaylee a motive? Did she have motives? What was up with Kaylee's LinkedIn account? DM and BF called it in at 11:58 a.m., 8 to 9 hours later. But the LinkedIn account was logged off at 11:53. So that proves to me only one thing. Kaylee's phone was with the suspect. It wasn't with the police because somebody logged off Kaylee's account. What is it with the LinkedIn account? You can ask. You can actually send in big transactions like $500,000. So if Kaylee was enforced into some kind of money laundering, allegedly, or some kind of fraud, the LinkedIn account would have been the safest and the best way to use that method of transferring big amounts of money. Now we're in 2024, almost 2025. But this was in 2022, November. Snapchat did not have that many policies, so I'm sure they could have been sending things on group chat like the crime scene pictures. And what you chat on disappears. Just with LinkedIn account, the rules have been tightened up and security now. Now I'm sure you'll have to put in your ID and your passport and such things to make big transaction. But before it wasn't like that. So what was up with Kaylee's LinkedIn account? Who was using Kaylee's phone? It had to be whoever came into the room and unlived Kaylee and Maddie. The last phone call they made was around 2:52 to 2:54 a.m. and that was to Jack D. So did the suspect take Maddie, Kaylee is home? Is the question. So what Olivia is trying to say is that Olivia, her name is Sue, Kaylee's sister, had Kaylee's app and phone app logged in her phone, in her email, and she got an app that the phone, Kaylee's LinkedIn app, was logged off? What was in the LinkedIn app? She contacted the police. She thought it was Idaho Moscow police who did it. And they said, no, we haven't done it. We're not allowed to do it by law. So could it have been the FBI who did it? Possibly. Why was it logged off? 13 hours after 911 was called. So that would be at 11:30 p.m. on the 13th of November. Was this some rogue organization? Did Kaylee owe someone money? Don't forget, Kaylee bought herself a car. I know she paid through mortgage to the bank, but you have to put in a deposit, and allegedly she put in $7,500, I believe. Where did that money come from? Just asking questions. And then you have another important clue. Katie's father, Steve Gongalves, said that his daughter had the most injuries. He said that Kaylee and Maddie's ways of being unalived wasn't the same. The mother said, Kaylee's mother said, she had plenty of stab wounds. I've heard allegedly over 50. I hope I'm wrong. So somebody was out for Kaylee. Pay attention to how Kaylee was on her phone the whole night at the grub truck. I found that to be very interesting. She couldn't focus on anything else. She was all over her phone, texting, receiving texts. The last time anyone heard from Maddie and Kaylee was allegedly when they text and when they were calling Jack D. On the whole, they called him 9 times. And then we heard a female yelling, "Stop it, stop." What exactly was going on that night in the house? And why did it take the roommates 9 hours to call the police? LinkedIn account. Who logged off Kaylee's LinkedIn account is the question.
So Olivia, here's a video of her showing me this screenshot right here. The green right here by the profile picture says that this account is active. Olivia screenshotted this at 11:33 p.m. on November 13th. This is about 19 and a half to 20 and a half hours after the murders, which is alleged to be between 3 to 4 a.m. And this is about 12 hours after the 911 call was made on November 13th. This is less than 24 hours after everything happened. This is very, very strange that her account is active. And this is where it gets weirder. So Olivia, she was shocked when she saw this. She screenshotted it. Then she went to show her friend. And when she went to show her friend, she clicked on Kaylee's LinkedIn profile and it had disappeared. Not available. Her account was literally deactivated and wiped out. The big question is, who was logged into her LinkedIn account and why did they delete it? Literally less than a day after the murders happened. Super, super strange. Olivia was enraged. She told me she emailed Moscow PD and said, "Why did you delete my sister's LinkedIn account?" They responded and said, "No, we did not do that. In fact, it's illegal for them to delete any social media profiles. It's illegal." So that brings into question, were they lying? Did FBI do this? Did LinkedIn delete this? But it's strange because let's say the reason why, because this is something that actually Bullhorn mentioned to me, a possibility. What if the company Kaylee was working for was being doxxed or something, because, and I have it blurred out the name of the company just for privacy reasons, but obviously at the time anyone would have been able to see the company she worked for. What if people were calling them and doxing them, and maybe the company emailed LinkedIn and said, can you please take down this account, whatever, we're being, doxed. But that doesn't make any sense, because that is super quick. That is literally 12 hours after the 911 call was made. So unless LinkedIn's customer service is that fast, would they even have permission to delete an account? I mean, I don't know.
I really don't believe that LinkedIn customer service would have reacted so quick and shut down the account. Or the FBI, because the FBI took 5 days. They got into this case 5 days later, on the 17th of November 2022. And I don't think it was LinkedIn customer service that reacted so quickly. I believe somebody had KAYLEES' phone. Who had KAYLEE's phone? Where was Maddie's phone? Where was the couple's phone? Did somebody have their phones? I wonder what the data will show. It's strange that KAYLEE's sister, Alivida, saw the LinkedIn logged in, and then all of a sudden it was logged out. She got an email notification. KAYLEE had the most, let me repeat it, guys. When we summarize this, KAYLEE had the most injuries. This horrific crime scenes took place the only day KAYLEE came back. Somebody wanted to make sure to wait